In the last video, we learned how to use the Rotopaint node. In this video, we'll use it to do sequence painting. So I'll press P for Rotopaint. As we saw in the previous video, when you select the clone tool, you can see some options available in the interface. Whenever you want to paint, set the hardness to 0. This makes the brush work smoothly. We noticed earlier that in FG, you can only take the source from the current frame and paint on the same frame. But what if we want to take the source from a different frame? For that, we use BG1. Now let's check our footage. In this shot, we need to remove this man. To do that, we will create a clean plate using different frame and then sequence paint it. Now I will create a dot here and connect the BG1 to our footage. Now when you change from FG to BG1, you can see some of the tools will change here. Let's first look at these changes. At the top, there's an option called Delta T. So what does this do? Basically, here you need to enter the frame number from which you want to take the reference to create the clean plate. Next to it, there's another option, relative and absolute. So if you select relative, you will have to specify whether you want to take the source from a future frame or a previous frame relative to your current frame. For example, if you are on frame 20 and want to take the source from frame, let's say 40. So you have to type 20 here because the difference between frame 20 and frame 40 is 20 frames. If you want to take the source from earlier frame, say from frame number 1, then you would type -20 here. However, I don't like to use the relative option because it involves a bit more thinking. Instead of, it's easier to just use absolute, where you directly enter the frame number you want the source from and create your clean plate. So I am going to select absolute and type 1 here. Now let's check the onion option here. This shows us where we are taking the source from. As you can see, we are taking the source from frame number 1 and it appears at 50% opacity. You can see this icon also. You can change the opacity from here also. If I drag it upwards, the opacity is 0, and if I drag it downwards, the opacity is 1. Let's set it to 0.5 here. If you turn off the onion, you will see your current frame. The shortcut to toggle onion on and off is T. Now we need to remove the man. So you can create a clean plate on, let's say, frame 100. I will create a clean plate on frame 100. Now I will turn on the onion skin. You will see the frame 1 doesn't quite match the 100 frame as it's slightly off in position. To match it, you can use the numpad to adjust the position. So I will just adjust it. Turn on it off again and again to check. I think it's matched now. So now I have matched it. Next I will just increase the brush size and then simply paint it. So you see, whatever our source was at frame 1, we can now paint it here. You can also see before after by just disabling it here. But suppose we need to remove this sign here and there is not any frame where the sign isn't there. So what we will do? So first we will need to clean it. Go to FG. I will just delete this clone first. Yeah. I am going to clean it on first frame. It doesn't matter. You can clean it on any frame. I've selected FGR, hardness is 0, and I will just decrease the opacity to, let's say, 0.3, so I can blend it better. Hold down Control to take the source, Shift to change the size, and just paint it. I will decrease the opacity slightly more to blend this better. So now I have created this clean plate. After that, when you come to paint on another frame, you don't need to use FG again to create a clean plate. Here's what you need to do. First, take a new node called frame hole. This node is used to freeze a specific frame and hold it throughout the entire sequence. It's mostly used to create a clean plate. So I will just attach it here. The properties are very simple. You can frame hold it anywhere. I will do the frame hold on frame 1 because I have created here. And you will see, oh wait. Yeah, you have to disconnect this BG from here. We have to take another Rotopaint for that process. You will see the frame hold. Our first frame is now freezed. Now I can use this Rotopaint as BG1 to paint the sequence on remaining frames. I will add another Rotopaint node and connect the BG here and BG1 to Rotopaint. Now press 1 here. Then I will select the clone tool and select BG1 here. Set it to absolute. I don't think we need this absolute information, but type it, yeah, because we are taking the source from frame 1. We can type any frame because of frame hold, but we have set the frame hold to frame 1, that's why I have typed here 1 and set the absolute. Now on frame 1 you don't need to adjust the position, you can just simply paint it. Now on frame 2, first we have to see if there is any change in the position. There is no change in the position, so we can paint it. 1, 2. First check. No movement. Painted. Most of the time, sequence painting is done to remove wires, and this work is done very well in Silhouette software. We are doing only basic clean plate work in Nuke, so that our concept becomes clear. At this point, instead of using this sequence painting, we can also use another technique to create a clean plate. What we can do is just delete this Rotopaint. We have our clean plate here. So we can take a roto node and create a shape. Remember we talked about mask in this Rotopaint. We can attach the roto to the mask option also, or we can just add it after Rotopaint. I will adjust the edges here. Now we'll pre-mult it. We got our clean plate, and then take merge and just combine it. And now wait, why we are not able to see our clean plate in the remaining frames is because the life of our clone is set to 1 only. Just set it to all. Wait, we have to select all the clones and set the life to all frames. And now you can see our clean plate is ready. We will have to match move this because our video is moving a bit. So I will just add a tracker node, connect it to the footage, add track. I can track this symbol here. So just track it. And track it back also. I'm not solving the errors here. Just export a transform match move baked and create. Add after pre-mult. And just play it. And now you can see our clean plate is sticking to the signboard. So that's how you can create clean plate by doing sequence paint and by using tracking information. And with this, we conclude our clean plate module here. In the next module, we will see how to remove tracking markers.